Hello and welcome back to Sacred Wellness Sessions. Today we are stepping into something powerful. This is Sacred Wellness Midlife Rediscovered. Midlife isn't a crisis, it's about remembering. Today I am joined by Kay Sanders. She is a soul alchemist, a light language channel, and the author of The Journey of Becoming the Soul Alchemist. Kay guides awakening souls through deep energetic transformation. She helps women transmute subconscious blocks, alchemize emotional wounds, and embody the truth of who they are, of who they came here to be. With so many women in midlife today, this is exactly the reason we're talking about this. And Kay, welcome to the show. I'm so honored to have you here today.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Me too. I mean, it's something really as I'm experiencing it now myself, and I'm meeting so many different women on this path, this journey of sort of rediscovering who they are. And it feels like something's sort of shifting when you get into this space of midlife. I remember when I went through my spiritual awakening, it sort of feels sort of familiar, like that would feel. I want to talk a little bit about how your perspective as a soul alchemist is and what actually is a soul alchemist.
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, a lot of people ask me that question, like, what is a soul alchemist? So I definitely like to talk about that because that's really the premise of really becoming the conscious creator of your own life. Because a soul alchemist, we, excuse me, we don't shy away from the inner work that is really necessary. A lot of people on this journey, because for one, spiritual awakening is about going deep and really uncovering who you are beneath all that stuff, all the programming, all the things you've learned, all the doubt and all of that, right? You have to kind of shed all these layers. And so, a lot of people they shy away from that, or even shadow work, right? Shadow work is like this big, huge, bad thing, right? That a lot of people really shy away from. But as a soul alchemist, it's like we don't really shy away from that. We know that any obstacles in our life is actually there to show us something, because everything in our life is a mirror reflection of what's going on within us. So if we're experiencing lack and limitation and struggles or obstacles in our life, they're often showing us what we need to work on within us. So a soul alchemist is really someone that uses everything that's happening in their life to say, okay, what can I learn from this? And then tuning into that, working with whatever comes up, really uncovering, well, what am I meant to learn from this? Because I truly believe everything holds a message, a lesson, and a gift. And it is through this work of really tuning in and really leaning into it, not shying away from, but really leaning into it,
Mhm.
not from the victim mentality, but really being open and receptive. Like, okay, what am I meant to learn from this? What is this trying to tell me? What is it trying to teach me? And then taking the lesson with you, taking the message with you, but then clearing the negative charge around whatever you're experiencing, and then really course correcting, really aligning yourself to the version of you who already lives the life that you would love to live, the life of abundance and prosperity and
Mhm.
freedom, impact, love, happiness, all of that, and then keep doing that. And it's not about, because oftentimes in the whole spiritual or personal development field, it's all about, well, you have to heal yourself first, you have to fix yourself. But we're not broken. There's
Mhm.
nothing broken about us. It's just we have taken on stuff that we thought in that moment this is the right thing to do, and then it's just like you're upgrading, right? Like, so it's like when you have a
Yes.
computer, right? You're realizing, oh, this is a faulty program, I don't like this is not really working, this is actually causing problems, let's kick that out and install something new. So it's not about that we're broken, that we need to fix something, but that we're honoring our path, that we're honoring, yes, we have experienced a lot in our life, we have integrated ancestral imprints, we have karmic
Mhm.
stuff, we have woundings, and they all have supported us up until this point. But as you're awakening, you're realizing, oh my god, that stuff is actually holding me back, this is limiting me, this is actually harming me now. Okay, let's work through this so I can free myself from that and then move forward. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what a soul alchemist is really consciously going through life, becoming aware of whenever you're feeling not okay, working through that, and then realigning yourself again to the version of you who lives the life that you want to live. And it's here about embodiment, embodying the lessons, embodying the messages, embodying the teachings, and then
Yes.
living that more aligned way. So that's basically what soul optimism is all about.
Yeah. I love that analogy of the computer program because it's so true. We've been conditioned so many times to believe so many things. And I think often, we move through it and we just accept it for what it is. I know it aligns with my work in the last, 14 years that I've done this work. I think we're moving into that place of embodiment more. I love how you shared that we're not broken because we're not broken. It's just these old things that we need reprogramming, right? And these subconscious patterns that we have. I want to talk a little bit about how come I feel like, and I don't know if you agree with this, but in midlife, all these old wounds start to resurface. These fears, subconscious patterns. Many of the people that I've been working with lately have this old stuff and they're getting into a place of midlife, and midlife is like, I really don't want to be this person anymore. Say you're a people pleaser and you really have been like that your entire life, and I really don't want to do that anymore. It's just not aligned with who I am, right? Do you find that in midlife, sometimes women, the voices get louder, especially if we haven't listened?
I do think so. I mean, especially now that we're in the age of Aquarius and how much is shifting lately, it's like more light workers, light bringers, guides, mentors are coming online, so to speak. And it's during that time when all that old stuff is coming to the surface because we need to work through it in order to help other people. Now, and oftentimes we attract the kind of people that mirror something back to us, right? So if you're focusing a lot on the midlife, so that's the kind of people that you're attracting. But yes, I have found that, the 20s and 30s is like we're learning a lot, we're experiencing a lot, and oftentimes we're also very hard-headed and not really aware, and we don't want to, right? But I find that the more we have experienced, and there's going to come a time and point in life where our soul then says enough. You've experienced enough. You've learned enough. Now it's time for you to finally wake up because your work is needed. Your light is needed. And as these things are coming up and as we're working through these things, our light becomes brighter. And then we become the light bringer, the light worker in the world. And that doesn't mean that we have to start a business or, be a leader or anything like that.
Mhm.
But it's just as we're working through our own stuff, we are assisting in the collective shift because every time we are releasing our own stuff, and some of the people that are waking up, and like I know for myself that there are also people that work on the collective stuff as well, not just our personal stuff but also the collective
Mhm.
things, the collective imprintings and whatnot. And I have found that when we're getting older, I think we are more capable of dealing with it, of holding that, right, of being conscious or becoming more consciously aware of it, and also honoring that, having that what's the word, like taking that responsibility of,
Mhm.
okay, this is showing up, this is trying to tell me something. So before, maybe you have ignored it, pushed it aside, I don't want to touch that, I don't want to deal with that, right? But as we're getting older, we're becoming, I guess, more wise, right, and more ready to then say, okay, now I have come this far. Maybe now it's time to go within. And especially now and over the last couple
Mhm.
of years, I have found that more so where people are feeling drawn to go within more. And I mean, even last year, the year of the snake, I mean, there was a lot of inner work that was needed to happen, as we're moving forward. Now we're in the age of Aquarius, and more people are not just awakening, but we're being invited to really step into our higher calling,
Mhm.
into that more awakened, more embodied self. But we have to do the work first so we can get to
Yes.
that state where we're open and ready to really embody a higher way of being, more of the truth of who we are.
Yeah. No, I love that. I agree with you. I think in our 20s and 30s, we're building, we're learning, and we're growing. And,
Making
then when
mistakes.
we, yeah, making mistakes, definitely made a lot of mistakes. And then when we enter midlife, we are now becoming, and I think embodiment, it's a beautiful state to be in. I find, at this stage of my life that it's just a way of being that I haven't really experienced before previously. I want to talk a little bit about you are a light language channel. I love light language. I write light language. I don't necessarily speak it. I don't always understand what I'm creating when I write it. I want to share a little bit with my listeners who are new to light language. What is light language and how does it support you on your awakening?
Well, first of all, I think I love that you're doing that you're channeling light language as well. Like I'm not really good in the writing. I mean, I really just do it verbally or with the signing. But yeah, to basically to simplify light language, it is the language of soul. It's like a high frequency, or not just language, or it's a frequency, right? Because it can be expressed in many different ways. I do it in verbally. You can do it singing. I do signing. You do it in writing. You can even do it in art. You can even do it in movement because you're expressing that higher essence. When you're really tapped into that, light language or light codes can come through in different ways. Now, what you had mentioned is that you don't always understand what you're expressing. And one of the things that the message I was being given, since I do it verbally and it comes out as jibber jabber, you can't understand it. In the beginning, I was like, well, what if people want to know what I'm actually saying? And the guidance I received is light language is not meant to be understood. It is meant to be experienced, because when you express light language or light codes, they do exactly what they're meant to be doing, that is to everyone's highest and greatest good. So if you have, let's say, 3 different people, the
Mhm.
light language will do different things for the different people based on what they need in that moment. Yes, you can have the focus, and like the way I start my light language out is I do like a setup where basically I basically program the codes of what I wanted to do. So let's say it's about clearing karmic imprints or whatnot. I basically
Mhm.
do the setup to program the codes of what I wanted to do. But then still, the light codes that are being delivered, it supports the individual that's listening or tuning in with whatever they need based on the focus. But yeah, it is not something that can be explained of what it is or what it does.
Yeah.
It truly needs to be experienced. I mean, I've heard people telling me when they're listening to my light language that they're having these immense visual experiences, and other people they're having these immense sensual experiences. Like they're feeling so much, they're feeling the
Mhm.
shift, they're feeling the energy. So it really cannot be explained what it is, what it does. Well, okay, what it does is like it can activate, it can
Mhm.
heal, it can clear, it can shift, it can dissolve, and things like that. It can go, past, present, future, past lives, different dimensions. I mean, there is no linear approach to it. There's also no specific way. It does what is to everyone's highest and greatest good. But it's really something that needs to be experienced for the right person who's open for that. They can have
Yes.
immense experiences.
Yeah, no, I love that definition. I think a lot of times as humans, we get caught up in the logical aspect of it. Well, I want to work on my heart today. And so, what does this mean for me? And I love that you shared that because Reiki, really, energy healing is like that as well. We're not, we are maybe sending energy to your heart, but if it doesn't need to go to your heart, it'll go where it needs to go to. And so,
Exactly.
it's very similar. I think, it's beautiful. I love listening to when people can speak light language or sing light language. I'm clairsentient, so I do feel a lot in my body. I'm one of those people that are like, oh my gosh, I felt that here and there. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no
I
problem.
want to talk a little bit about your book.
Mhm.
It's titled The Journey of Becoming the Soul Alchemist. And I think it's so needed at this time that we are moving into. But what does it actually mean? And do you share some of your experiences in your books? Because I always share from my experiences in my books. I think it's so helpful for people to see others and what they've gone through. Because I think a lot of times people look at us and they think, oh, well, you have it so easy. You can do this and that. It must be very easy. And it's not very easy at all. So can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, the book is actually it's my life's work. Like for one, the way it came through, I mean, it knocked me off my feet. It actually I channeled the entire book, which actually I have a copy here just so I can kind of show you. It came through within 11 days. It's like 400 pages. It came through within 11 days, and
Wow.
it became clear to me it's like that's kind of like the work that is now needed, because the big thing that I focus on, yes, it talks about the awakening first, like as you're awakening, what you're experiencing and why and whatnot. And then I also talk about the healing part, because that is needed. A lot of people, they want to jump from, oh, I'm awakening and now I'm all healed and I'm all good and I'm like all hype or whatnot. And but they're kind of skipping that step, or it's like that spiritual bypassing that, you call that. And the healing is really the important part, but a lot of people, they don't really know, well, how do I heal? So in my book I also teach different ways of healing. Like I use a clearing statement that is very simple to clear away any energetic charge. And I also teach about the shadow work as well. How do you really work with your shadow? I actually channeled a message from the shadow that's in the book as well, which whenever I read it I get total goosebumps. It's just like so powerful. But then it's also about the embodiment part, because that is a lot of, I mean, I have gone through a lot of teachings, a lot of courses, a lot of, teachings around, awakening or whatnot. But the one thing I have found that is often missing is the embodiment part. It's like when you keep, staying in that cycle of, healing and clearing and healing and clearing, you're never going to make a change. You're never actually going to create a different path. You're just constantly stuck in healing and clearing and healing and clearing. And oh my God, I'm broken. I need to fix something. I need to fix this before I can move that, and all of that, right? So it's
Yes.
about, moving forward as you're on this path, not being stuck in the healing cycle, but okay, using whatever comes up as that guide, as that teacher to then look closer. Kind of like what I mentioned earlier about, okay, what am I meant to learn from this? Taking
Mhm.
the lesson with you, clearing the energetic charge, and then realigning yourself to really embody that version of you who's already overcome that. The version of you who is empowered, who is happy, who goes after what you want, who is abundant, all of those different things. Because the more you embody the version of you who already lives the life that you want, your essence shifts, your vibration shifts, your mindset shifts, and then you're co-creating the outer reality based on who you are embodying, who you're showing up as, right? So
Yes.
that's how you can become the conscious creator. So that's basically, the book is all about being, living as a soul alchemist, manifesting the life that you want, working through the challenges, working through whatever comes up, moving forward, really embodying that version of you that lives the life that you want. And here, you mentioned earlier about, people that make it seem so easy. The path of awakening is anything but easy, but it is the most transformative path you could ever be on. There are times when I look back, and I mean, there were times like actually last year, the last 6 months of last year were absolutely excruciating for me. I was being like, it happened right after I released the book.
Yes.
I launched the book in July. And then in August, my life completely fell apart. It felt like I have written everything in the book and then everything was gone. So it was like, it felt like I was kind of put into like the whole, internship, the unpaid internship to learn what I have written about, really to live it, to embody it. And there were times I'm like, well, I mean, I've written about it. I should remember it. I should be doing these things. But the last 6 months of last year were absolutely challenging, where I was being taken into the depth of the shadow or the underworld, right? And I had to kind of find my way out. And because of the things that I've written in the book, I helped myself get out
Mhm.
of that again. But it was very challenging. I mean, the path of awakening, and I'm pretty sure you've had those phases too, the dark night of the soul. Like when I first heard that term, I was like, okay, it's like a night, because that's the dark night, right? But my dark night actually lasted like weeks, months, and like in the beginning, actually years. It felt like, am I ever gonna get out of this crappy
Yes.
period? But I believe every phase of our life, the good, the bad, the ugly, the devastating, the absolutely crappy periods, they all shape us, they all help us become who we're meant to be. Like for the
Yeah.
longest time, I wanted to be a teacher and be seen as a teacher, but I always felt like I'm not there yet. I'm not that yet.
Hmm.
And because of everything I experienced, and as I was being given the teachings of soul alchemy, that's how I learned to actually, like, you know what, I am already a teacher. Yes, my life is not where I want to be yet, but I have come so far already. I can extend my hand to someone that is further back and help them, uplift them because of what I have what I've experienced, what I have
Yes.
embodied, and what I'm modeling now through my
Mhm.
work, through my teachings, through how I show up in the world. So that's
Yeah.
really the journey of soul alchemy. Is like you go through it, you live it, you get out of it, you embody it, and then you live it, you be it, you express it, and that's what makes a ripple in the world. That's what creates that impact, even though you're not actually working with people, but you just embodying more of your light. That makes that ripple in the world.
Yes, I agree. And our paths are very aligned. When I wrote Reaching for You, the Crystalline Light series, that was the first book in a series. It took me a year to write it. It took me another year to integrate it. And I was down in the ditches as well. I went through this existential crisis of questioning everything in my life and what I was taught and who I was taught to be. And, it was not an easy time, similar to yours. It was a long few months of digging down and pulling myself back up through that. So thank you for sharing that. I think there's so much wisdom that can be shared in an experience that we have together. Often people feel very alone. I know when I first began my journey, there really wasn't a lot of people that I found yet to talk about this to. And I'm so happy that today in our world, we're able to do that. For someone who's listening today and sort of feel overwhelmed because there's a lot of information out there now,
Mhm.
what is one thing they can do to start to reconnect with that soul wisdom that they have?
Okay, what wants to come through here? It's about going within. Because a lot of teachings, they give you bits and pieces, they give you maybe a foundation, but oftentimes when you're feeling overwhelmed, that is a call to go within. So here, take more time out to really go within, maybe through meditation or just stillness or just gentle contemplation. I mean, just sitting down and just kind of tuning in, like, okay, what wants to come to the surface here? What wants
Mhm.
to be expressed to me? What is asking to be acknowledged here? And just tuning in more, not looking outside, because nothing outside of you can help you feel less overwhelmed or feel more in control or whatnot, or
Right.
help you fix something. Like I said, there's nothing broken, but there's nothing outside of you that can help you do it. You need to go within. Oftentimes we're looking for outside, we're looking for the gurus, the book, the course, the teaching, the podcast or whatever, right? Because we're hoping that that outside of us is going to give us the answer.
Yeah.
But what I have found is that yes, these things outside of ourselves can give us bits and pieces that kind of trigger the answer. Like I have been, I have listened to, certain courses or a video, or, I purchased books or, courses or whatnot. And I didn't even go through everything, because after maybe like the second or third lesson, I got exactly what I needed. Like, okay, I
Yes.
got it, right? It unlocked something within me. And this was not about, it was not the course itself or the lesson or whatever, but it was something that spoke to me, and I found the answer within me. So here I really would suggest go within more, take
Mhm.
more time out to yourself, where you can be by yourself, maybe journal about just the question of what is important for me to know today, what wants to
Yes.
be acknowledged today, what am I feeling today,
That's a big
what
one.
am I experiencing,
Yes.
right? What am I afraid of? What am I worried about? Those type of things, right? And not so much about what am I here to do, but like let's start where, what are you experiencing? What are you feeling? What are you afraid of? What, like I
Yeah.
said, wants to be acknowledged. And doing so, and here the important thing is to do this with an open heart and an open mind. Never judge anything that comes up, or even judging that nothing comes up in the moment, because
Right.
perhaps there's resistance there. So the more you can ease into it, lean into it without forcing it, that's when the guidance comes. Or even when you're doing nothing, let's say, like I like to go outside and water the yard, or work in
Hmm.
my yard or whatnot, and that I don't think, I'm just in the moment. And that's when all the ideas come in. There's times when I have to stop doing what I'm, what I was doing, go inside, get my notebook, and just write the stuff down, and go back outside. And yeah, I have done that a lot too. But yeah,
Yes,
that's really
me
the thing.
too. Especially like while driving, sometimes that happens to me.
Mm-hmm.
If you're
Yep.
driving on a quiet road, sometimes, I'll be in that meditative state. Well, Kay, thank you so much for sharing everything and bringing the depth of your soul remembrance to sacred wellness today. You talked a little bit about school. You're on school now and you have a sacred path of light community that
Mm-hmm.
you're offering to others. Can you just share a quick little bit about that?
Yeah, so basically, I was guided to create this community because, like you mentioned, there's so many that are feeling lost on this journey that really don't know, or they just want community. They want to know that I'm not the only one going through all these things. So basically, my community, the Sacred Path of Light community, is for the spiritual entrepreneurs, the seekers, the guides, the people that, the souls that really feel like they're here for a greater calling. They feel
Hmm.
like they need to step into something higher, but they're not really sure how to. My community is basically there to help them move from, awakening to all the way to impact, where they can make the impact that they're here to make. And it's totally free. The first tier is absolutely free. But there's a lot of resources in there that can help them at least get going on this path, get the support that they need. And there's also the community involved as well.
Wonderful. Well, I will share the link in the description as well. And if today's episode resonated with you or you're navigating midlife or midlife spiritual awakening, please share this episode, like and subscribe. Thank you for joining us today. And remember, you are alchemizing. Every day you are changing and shifting, and growing and healing. And you're a beautiful being of light. And I am so grateful to share this space with all of you. So thank you for joining Sacred Wellness today.